What do you get when you combine dream hacking, a sentient parade of appliances, body horror, and the weirdest therapy session of all time? You get Paprika, Satoshi Kon's 2006 animated mind trip that basically handed Christopher Nolan the blueprint for Inception and said, "Try to keep up." So buckle in. We're going full tilt into a film where dreams, reality, and sanity stop being friends. This is Paprika, and it's time to get weird. We open in a dream, not just any dream, a chaotic roller coaster through a circus, a murder mystery, a spy movie, and a literal act of self-extraction through a mirror. This isn't a plot hole. It's Detective KONAKAWA'S nightmare. Enter Dr. Atsuko Chiba, your typical brilliant, stone-cold rational scientist. With a magical dream world alter ego named Paprika, she uses the DC Mini, a device that lets therapists enter a patient's dreams directly, for some high-tech lucid therapy. It's all hush-hush and very much, "This is how the apocalypse starts" energy. KONAKAWA'S dreams hint at unresolved trauma and guilt, a friend he failed, a movie never finished, and a nagging case of, "Why am I always the one being chased in these dreams?" Chiba and Paprika begin investigating deeper layers of KONAKAWA'S subconscious, uncovering a metaphorical maze of regret and shame hidden behind dream doors that open into bizarre cinematic vignettes. These aren't just surreal sequences, they're coded trauma flashbacks disguised as Hollywood dream genres. Trouble arrives faster than dream logic. Someone's stolen a prototype DC Mini, and they're dream hijacking scientists, causing full-blown psychotic breaks. While awake, imagine your coworker ranting about dolls and refrigerators while jumping out a window. That's Monday at this research lab now. SHIMA, the stern but kind chief, becomes a dream zombie. Takeda, the oversized genius who built the DC Mini, is too innocent to realize he might have caused world-breaking chaos by not password protecting it. Chiba's concern meter goes from mildly worried to "we're all gonna die in dreamland." Worse, the dream virus spreads. The infected all begin repeating the same nonsensical phrases, mumbling about dolls and deities while their eyes glaze over like malfunctioning NPCs. The barrier between dream and waking life? Rapidly evaporating. Let's meet the brain trust behind this dream invasion. Dr. Atsuko Chiba, scientist by day, dream avatar Paprika by night. If Batman did therapy. Takeda, the lovable man-child tech genius, brilliant, terrible with boundaries. SHIMA, the moral center of the team, constantly trying not to say, "I told you so." Osanai, tall, handsome, suspiciously slick, definitely the guy you don't want alone with the DC Mini. When SHIMA collapses, Takeda examines his distorted dreamscape, a surreal, nonsensical parade of dolls and cultural icons. In that chaos, he sees a familiar face, Himuro. The team begins to suspect that Himuro, who has mysteriously disappeared, may have stolen the prototype DC Mini. His familiarity with the system and his psychological instability make him a prime suspect. They trace Himuro's digital trail and decide to investigate his apartment. At Himuro's place, things get weird. The apartment is a disaster, filled with monitors, wires, and strange handmade shrines. It's clear Himuro has been using the DC Mini not just for observation but full-on obsession. As the team pokes around, the boundaries between the physical space and the dream world begin to blur. Suddenly, they're pulled into a collective dream. There, they uncover a dream dimension bleeding into reality, complete with the now infamous dream parade. The apartment itself is a surreal nightmarescape, a hub where the lines between real and imagined have collapsed entirely. While investigating, Chiba nearly succumbs to the dream world's pull and is on the verge of jumping off the balcony, but Osanai steps in just in time, saving her from falling and grounding her momentarily back to reality. Paprika doesn't just investigate, she rescues. She returns to the dream world and dives into SHIMA's chaotic subconscious. Trapped in a storm of marching dolls and warped dreamscapes, SHIMA is on the verge of losing himself entirely. Paprika finds him, grounds him, and leads him back to awareness. In the real world, SHIMA wakes up, dazed but alive. One small victory in a war for consciousness. But back in reality, the mood is grim. Kimuro is found unconscious, completely catatonic. His mind was hijacked and used like a puppet, likely to divert suspicion from the real mastermind. The dream virus has a puppeteer. Meanwhile, let's talk about Chairman Inui, the wheelchair-bound head of the organization. He's always been against the DC Mini, not for ethical reasons, but because he believes dreams are sacred, pure, a final refuge from the corruption of reality and technology. He thinks meddling with dreams is playing God. While the dream chaos escalates, Konakawa's personal nightmare hits climax. He's reliving a moment where his friend died and he ran away, literally and emotionally. Turns out he was supposed to co-direct a film but ghosted the project and the friend. Now his brain loops that guilt every night. Thanks to Paprika's help, he faces the dream head-on, and metaphorically punches it in the face. He literally fights through layers of symbolism, camera lenses, projectors, film reels, each representing parts of his broken past. He chases himself through a dream movie theater, finally confronting the screen and the memory he kept running from. Healing? Check. Also, he's now a certified dream warrior. Tracing the roots that controlled him, Paprika confronts the chairman, who claims that he is in fact the protector of the dream world, guarding this last haven against the inhumane horrors of reality and technology. He is aided by researcher Dr. Morio Osanai, who agreed to give the chairman his body and become the chairman's lackey as long as he retains equal powers over his own dreams. Paprika is eventually captured by the pair after an exhausting chase. Paprika wakes as a butterfly pinned to a table in a room surrounded by pinned butterflies. There, Osanai admits his love for Chiba and literally peels away Paprika's skin to reveal Chiba underneath. However, he is interrupted by the outraged chairman, who demands that they finish off Chiba. As the two share Osanai's body, they battle for control as they argue over Chiba's fate. Konakawa enters the dream from his own recurring dream and flees with Chiba back into his. Osanai gives chase through Konakawa's recurring dream, causing Konakawa to realize that his recurring nightmare and anxiety result from his guilt that he never finished the film he was making with a friend. He decides to finish the film and take control of the dream by shooting Osanai. The act actually kills Osanai's physical body with a real bullet wound. Dreams and reality have now merged. The dream parade is running amok in the city, and reality itself is starting to unravel. Shima is nearly killed by a giant Japanese doll, but is saved by Paprika, who has become an entity separate from Chiba thanks to dreams and reality merging. Amidst the chaos, Takeda, in the form of a giant robot, eats Chiba and prepares to do the same for Paprika. The chairman also returns in the form of a living nightmare, reveals his twisted dreams of omnipotence, and threatens to darken the world with his delusions. A ghostly apparition of Chiba appears and reveals that she has in fact been in love with Takeda this whole time and has simply been repressing these emotions. She comes to terms with her own repressed desires, reconciles herself with that part of her that is Paprika. Paprika returns to Takeda, throwing herself into his body. A baby emerges from the robotic shell and sucks in the wind, aging as she sucks up the chairman himself, becoming a fully grown combination of Chiba and Paprika. In this new form, she is able to consume the chairman's dream form and end the nightmare he created. In the final scene, Chiba sits at Takeda's bedside. Konakawa and Shima leave the two as Chiba puts her hand in Takeda's. As Konakawa and Shima walk down the street, Shima asks if Konakawa ever figured out the meaning to all this. Konakawa, turning to his reflection and seeing the figure of his film friend, realizes that he in fact became the character from their original film, The Cop. Konakawa visits Paprika's website and receives a message from Paprika. Atsuko will change her surname to Takeda, and I suggest watching the movie Dreaming Kids. The film ends as Konakawa purchases a ticket for the suggested movie. Paprika isn't just a movie, it's a vibe, a warning, a hallucination with a plot. It asks big questions. Who are we in dreams? What masks do we wear when we're awake? Can dream babies be nightmare fuel and salvation? Shout out to Satoshi Kon, who walked so Inception could run in slow motion. If you enjoyed this recap, slap that like button, hit subscribe, and let me know what your weirdest dream was in the comments. Unless it was also a sentient parade. In that case, please seek help. Catch you in the next episode.